In the court of power, remember, when you rise, many will smile, but few will truly wish you well. Guard your ascent, for envy is a silent assassin. Otto von Bismarck. Chapter 1. Smiling Assassins. Smiling assassins, they surround you, smiling. Learn how to recognize these treacherous faces and, more importantly, how to survive their blades. I know this lesson well. Picture a bucket riddled with invisible holes, draining your ambition, your energy, your very will to succeed. They tell you everyone wants to see you win. This is a lie. Understood in Renaissance Florence, most men would rather see you fall, or at least stumble, than rise too high. You are surrounded by smiling assassins, people who offer empty cheers while their true desire is to watch you bleed. Faced exile from Florence, stripped of his power and influence, he did not scream or beg for sympathy. He retreated, observed, and wrote. He saw clearly how quickly alliances shifted, how those who once praised him now celebrated his downfall, and how many waited for him to break. He learned to read the subtle signs of ambition, envy, and quiet sabotage hidden beneath polite smiles. What he understood is that true power lies in identifying these silent threats before they can take root. These are not your overt enemies. Those are easy to spot. The smiling assassins are far more dangerous because they operate under the guise of friendship. They appear supportive, yet their every action, every subtle comment, is designed to undermine your progress, to keep you small and contained. They are the ones who offer unsolicited advice disguised as concern, or remind you of past failures just as you're about to take a risk. Watch what happens when you share a triumph with them. Their smile might reach their lips, but their eyes will remain cold. They'll quickly pivot to their own minor successes or subtly downplay yours. They will ask questions that imply luck, not skill, was responsible for your win. This is not support. This is thinly veiled resentment. Think about the quiet jabs, the backhanded compliments. That's a bold move for someone like you. Or, I hope it works out better than last time. These aren't meant to guide you. They're designed to plant seeds of doubt, to shrink your confidence just as you prepare to expand. They want you to second-guess yourself, to hesitate, to retreat from the very opportunities that could elevate you beyond their reach. Here's how you identify these smiling assassins. They are never genuinely happy for your good news, and they are always too eager to comfort you in your failures. They thrive on your struggle because it validates their own stagnation. They will offer an ear for your problems, not out of care, but to siphon every detail, every weakness, every insecurity you expose. If you loudly announce your ambitious plans, people will either openly doubt you or secretly root for your fall. But if you quietly execute your vision, moving in silence, there's nothing for them to tear down. Mastered, he's already a done deal. This is the quiet ruthlessness. Niccolò Machiavelli mastered. He understood that the less you broadcast your intent, the fewer targets you offer to those who wish you ill. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote about ressentiment, the bitter resentment felt by the weak towards the strong. What he understood is that some people cannot tolerate your ascent because it highlights their own stagnation and lack of courage. Their secret hope for your failure is a shield against their own uncomfortable truths. It is a subtle but potent poison that will erode your self-belief if you allow it. The danger isn't always a sudden betrayal. Sometimes it's a slow leak, a constant drip of negativity that hollows you out from the inside. They don't need to actively sabotage you if they can simply drain your resolve. This emotional bleed weakens your foundation, making you vulnerable to the next blow. But there are other leaks, invisible chains that bind you without your knowledge. One of them is your need for validation. What is it? Chapter 2. The Quiet Dismissal. The quiet dismissal? A dagger unsheathed yet never drawn. They won't confront you. They'll simply make you question your worth, your very authority. This is how empires crumble. The next insidious leak is the quiet dismissal. It's not an open insult, but a whisper that chips away at your ambition, a subtle shrug that downplays your wins. They don't need to stab you in the back. They just need to make you doubt your own blade. Picture Abraham Lincoln in the furnace of the American Civil War. Every decision he made was ripped apart by the press, by generals, by politicians who privately dismissed his leadership and questioned his every move. They didn't scream, they quietly undermined, hoping he'd falter. This quiet dismissal corrodes your self-belief, forcing you to question your path. It plants seeds of doubt about your goals, your efforts, your very worth. You start seeking their approval, explaining yourself, trying to justify your actions to people who have no real interest in seeing you succeed. This constant defense drains your focus, diverting energy from progress. It's a psychological tax. They might say, "Oh, that's nice." When you achieve something monumental, their tone flat, their eyes devoid of genuine excitement. Or, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" It sounds like a lot of work for little payoff. When you outline an ambitious plan, it's not direct criticism, but a subtle dampening, a calculated minimization of your efforts. They cloak intentions in feigned objectivity, pretending to be reasonable when they just want you to stay small. Abraham Lincoln understood this dynamic intimately. He was a master of the unfazed silence. Instead of engaging in endless debates with those who sought to dismiss him, he focused on the objective, preserving the Union. He let results, not rhetoric, be his answer. His critics could whisper, they could dismiss, but he kept moving forward, his resolve unwavering. This relentless focus, despite the background noise, was his greatest weapon. Here's how you counter this insidious attack. Do not explain yourself. Do not justify your ambitions. Do not seek their understanding or validation. Your silence is a wall. Their dismissive words hit it and fall flat, having nowhere to land, nowhere to take root in your mind. They expect you to flinch, to defend, to prove yourself, deny them that satisfaction. When they try to downplay your achievements, offer a curt thank you and move on. When they question your plans with thinly veiled skepticism, simply state, "I've considered it." Do not elaborate. Do not open the door for them to poke holes. They thrive on your need for acceptance, on your desire to be understood. Cut off their oxygen supply. If you announce your grand plans, people will judge you against them, and every setback becomes fodder for their quiet dismissal. But if you quietly build, if you operate in the shadows, there's nothing for them to pick apart until it's too late. The fools seek applause before they even start. The wise seek results. Socrates, the great Athenian philosopher, knew that true conviction doesn't come from external validation. He taught that genuine truth is found through rigorous self-examination, not through the opinions of others. What Socrates understood is that if you truly know your own mind, the dismissive whispers of others become irrelevant. Their opinions are just noise. Your inner truth is the signal. Abraham Lincoln absorbed the constant barrage of criticism, the quiet dismissals from all sides, yet he never let it define his leadership or deter his mission. He understood that true power lies in an inner resolve that no external negativity can touch. He wasn't swayed by the shifting winds of popular opinion or the petty jealousies of his rivals. He had a goal, and he pursued it with an unwavering focus. By refusing to engage, by maintaining an unshakable inner conviction, you deny them the power they crave. They want to see you react, to see you hurt, to see you hurt, to see you doubt. When you don't, when you simply continue your work, their tactics become toothless. Their quiet dismissal turns into their own quiet frustration, and that is a far more satisfying outcome. This deliberate indifference is not weakness. It is a calculated strength. Chapter 3, Poisoned Counsel. Poisoned Counsel, a blade cloaked in kindness. True power demands you see the hidden hand, the subtle sabotage from those who envy your ascent. Picture Sun Tzu in ancient China, meticulously crafting the art of war, a text that has guided strategists for millennia. He understood that the most dangerous attacks aren't always head-on. Sometimes they arrive disguised as concern, as empathy, as genuine wisdom. This is the subtle weapon of poisoned counsel. It is advice offered by your friends that seems helpful, even supportive, but is actually designed to introduce doubt, delay your progress, or subtly steer you away from your own best path. They don't want you to fail spectacularly, only to never truly soar beyond their own reach. They want to keep you comfortably within their frame, where your successes won't expose their stagnation. Imagine this. You share an ambitious new plan, a bold move you're excited about. Your friend nods, then begins, "That sounds incredibly challenging. Have you really thought about all the risks? It's a huge commitment, you know. Maybe start smaller, test the waters first." Their words are cloaked in prudence, but their tone drips with apprehension, mirroring their own fears onto your ambition. This isn't helpful caution. It's a subtle attempt to inject their anxieties into your bloodstream. They're not offering solutions. They're highlighting obstacles you already know, often exaggerating them, without offering any pathways through. They don't want to see you fail, but they also cannot stomach the thought of you truly succeeding, because your victory is a mirror reflecting their own lack of initiative back at them. The strategy is simple. Recognize the pattern. When their advice consistently focuses on the downside, when it subtly discourages rather than empowers, when it pushes you towards a path of least resistance instead of genuine growth, you are receiving poisoned counsel. Their words are not for your benefit, but for their own comfort, to maintain the status quo of your relationship. You do not need to confront them. You do not need to argue. You simply need to internalize the message, thank them for their input, and then proceed exactly as you planned. Their counsel is a test of your resolve. If you let it fester, it will become a cancer of indecision, eating away at your momentum. If you announce your ambitious goals to everyone, you invite their unsolicited opinions, their fears, their envy. People will project their own limitations onto your vision, subtly pushing you to shrink your dreams to fit their cramped reality. They will offer 1,000 reasons why you cannot achieve something, each one a tiny barb designed to deflate your drive. But if you quietly do the work, if you move with purpose and reveal nothing until it is a done deal, there is no surface for their poison to land. They have nothing to critique, nothing to undermine, no opportunity to implant doubt. Your actions become your shield, and your silence becomes your strongest weapon against their subtle sabotage. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, understood the imperative of guarding one's inner world from external noise. He often wrote about the importance of not letting the opinions or actions of others disturb one's tranquility or one's virtuous path. What he understood is that your inner resolve is a fortress. Allowing their doubt to penetrate is to open the gate to your enemies. Sun Tzu taught that supreme excellence lies in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. Your friends who offer poisoned counsel are not your overt enemies, but their resistance to your ascent is real. By recognizing their subtle tactics, by internalizing their advice as a projection of their own fears, you disarm them without a single word. You simply execute. This is not about cutting people off. It is about protecting your mental space, your ambition, your trajectory. It is about understanding that not everyone who smiles in your face truly wishes you well. Some are simply waiting for you to stumble. But there's another insidious leak, one that drains your vital energy without you ever noticing. What is it? Chapter 4. The Fading Smile. The fading smile, a tell of true allegiance. Observe closely, for this subtle shift reveals the envious heart, a dangerous undercurrent to your triumphs. Picture Louis XIV in Bourbon, France, orchestrating the grand spectacle of Versailles. He understood. True power wasn't just in armies, but in controlling the emotional temperature of his court. He watched faces. This brings us to the fading smile, the subtle dip in enthusiasm when you share good news, a tell of their true feelings. This isn't outright sabotage, it's more insidious. When you announce a win, a breakthrough, a significant step forward, their smile tightens, eyes flicker, and the conversation subtly shifts away from your accomplishment. They might deflect, making it about a similar, minor success or pivot to downplay your moment. It's a silent, emotional drain. Watch what happens when you tell them about a promotion, a new relationship, a financial gain. The genuine spark is absent. Their congratulations feel hollow, perfunctory, rather than heartfelt. They cannot genuinely be happy for you because your success, in their distorted view, highlights their own perceived lack. It's a mirror they don't want to see. This subtle aversion to your victories erodes your own joy. You begin to temper enthusiasm, to downplay achievements, to subconsciously avoid triggering their discomfort. You start to edit your own story, walking on eggshells around people who should be your biggest cheerleaders. This is how they diminish you without direct opposition. Here's how you identify this emotional sabotage. Pay attention to the initial reaction. Is it immediate, unreserved joy, or a micro-expression of surprise or disappointment before the polite facade kicks in? Notice if the conversation immediately shifts to them, their problems, or to find a flaw in your good fortune. Details betray them. The dark strategy is not to confront, but to observe and internalize. Understand that their reaction has nothing to do with you or your success, everything to do with their own insecurities. When you see the fading smile, don't try to win them over, don't explain your victory, and certainly don't seek validation. Simply log it. It's information. If you announce your wins with exuberance, seeking their mirrored excitement, you expose a need for their approval. This gives them power. But if you quietly absorb their lukewarm response, noting it as data, there's nothing for them to exploit. You retain your emotional capital. You do not allow their internal conflict to become your external burden. Louis XIV meticulously managed the emotional economy of his court. He understood every noble's status was zero-sum. When one rose, another felt threatened. The Sun King cultivated an environment where open envy was punished, but he recognized undercurrents. He didn't ask them to be happy for others. He demanded outward fealty, observed true sentiments. What Louis XIV understood is that genuine support is rare, and insincere pleasantries are common currency. He knew to distinguish between those who genuinely served his vision and those who merely played the part. He focused on actions and loyalty, not the fleeting sincerity of a smile. He knew the difference between a true ally and a courtier who simply feared him. Aristotle, centuries before Versailles, spoke of true friendship as a bond rooted in shared virtue and a mutual desire for the other's good. He argued that friends wish good things for each other, for the friend's own sake, not for personal gain or comparison. When you encounter the fading smile, you are looking at the inverse of Aristotle's ideal. Such reactions reveal not a true friend, but someone who views your life through a competitive lens where your gain is inherently their loss. They cannot genuinely share in your happiness because their own self-worth is too entangled with external comparison. Their discomfort is not a flaw in your success. It is a profound deficiency in their capacity for genuine connection. This subtle sabotage, this inability to celebrate your wins, is a leak in your emotional foundation. It drains your joy, makes you question your path. But there's another hidden trap, one that masquerades as genuine concern, yet subtly pulls you down. What is it? Chapter 5? The Concerned Whisper. The whisper, a subtle blade. Richelieu mastered it, destroying foes with mere suggestion. Now consider the friend who leaks your secrets. They aren't just sharing, they're diminishing you. Picture Cardinal Richelieu in early modern France, navigating a court riddled with spies and whispers. He understood the lethal power of the concerned whisper, how seemingly innocent gossip, delivered with a sigh and a furrowed brow, could dismantle a reputation faster than an open enemy. His enemies, like the ambitious Cinq-Mars, learned this the hard way, their plots unveiled by the very loose talk they had allowed to spread. When your friend broadcasts your missteps, your failures, or even your private anxieties, they aren't just sharing information, they are actively diminishing your standing. They plant seeds of doubt in the minds of others, eroding trust and perception. It is a soft kill, a slow bleed. Watch what happens when you share a setback, a missed promotion, a project that went sideways, a personal struggle with someone you trust. Then, a week later, you hear the story, slightly distorted, delivered with feigned sympathy, from someone else who conveniently just heard it from your friend. They did not tell everyone to help you. They told everyone to help themselves. This is the concerned whisper, a tool of social assassination. It allows them to appear virtuous, helpful even, while subtly repositioning you as less capable, less stable, less worthy. They drain your social capital, they weaken your position. The goal is to control the narrative. Cardinal Richelieu famously had an intricate network of informants, but he also mastered the art of selective disclosure. He chose what information was released, and more importantly, what was withheld. He understood that power lies in owning the source, not just reacting to leaks. When Cinq-Mars and his conspirators were plotting, Cardinal Richelieu didn't react with public outrage. He collected information, letting their whispers expose their own weaknesses. Then, when the time was right, he presented irrefutable proof, not through gossip, but through controlled, devastating revelations. What Cardinal Richelieu understood is that the truly powerful never rely on others to manage their story. If you announce your vulnerability or allow others to broadcast it for you, you invite vultures, you invite judgment, you surrender your narrative. But if you quietly manage your own information, if you choose who knows what and when, there is nothing for the concerned whisperer to exploit. They have no fuel for their fire. This is a game of information control. Those who control the flow, control the outcome. Those who leak your struggles are not allies. They are competitors looking for an opening. They want to see you fall just enough to make themselves feel taller. Cleopatra, too, was a master of image. She understood that even rumors of her personal life, if spun incorrectly, could undermine her political standing. She controlled her narrative through calculated public appearances and private negotiations, ensuring her story was told on her terms. She knew that a well-told tale can be more potent than an army. She did not let her rivals define her. These friends who delight in broadcasting your misfortunes are not just weak, they are dangerous. They are the ones who will stand by as your ship sinks, whispering to the crowd about the holes they saw developing, never lifting a finger to help plug them. They derive secret pleasure from your pain, a perverse validation of their own stagnant lives. Their concern is a mask. It is a performance. It is designed to make them look good at your expense. Recognize the pattern. Every time a setback is shared without your consent, your position is weakened, your reputation chipped away. This quiet destruction of your image is potent, but sometimes the attack isn't in what they say, but in what they damned. There's another type of parasite, one that feeds not on your failures, but on your time and energy, a relentless drain. What is it? Chapter 6, Competitive Shadows. Competitive shadows. They crave your orbit, not your friendship. They fear your ascent more than their own failure. Understand this subtle war. They demand your attention, your validation, your constant presence in their orbit, not for genuine connection, but because they cannot bear the thought of you rising without their explicit involvement. This is the insidious trap of the competitive shadow, a quiet rivalry festering beneath the surface of supposed friendship. Picture Julius Caesar, in ancient Rome, standing on the banks of the Rubicon. He knew that crossing meant an irreversible declaration, an act that would immediately expose the true loyalties of everyone around him. Julius Caesar understood. Some would follow, some would flee, others would watch with destructive envy, hoping for his downfall even as they feigned support. Competitive shadows don't want your outright failure. That's too direct. Instead, they want you to stay exactly where you are, always within their perceived reach. Your every victory is a subtle blow to their ego, a stark reminder of their own static position. They will offer a tight smile, then quickly pivot to their own minor achievements, or subtly inject doubt disguised as concern, not to help but to ground you, to pull you back. Watch what happens when you land that promotion or achieve a significant personal win. They might congratulate you, then immediately share a story of someone else's rapid rise and spectacular fall, or demand more of your precious time, pulling you into their dramas. This is not support. This is a corrosive attempt to keep you tethered, to drain your momentum, to prevent you from truly pulling away. Their subconscious goal: ensure your light never outshines theirs for too long. Here's how you disarm this silent competitor. Move in absolute silence. Do not announce your ambitions. Do not broadcast your small wins, your developing strategies. Let your progress be undeniable, a quiet, inexorable force that simply is, rather than something you declared. When you achieve something significant, release it as a done deal, an accomplished fact, not a speculative venture. This denies them the window to inject their doubts, to undermine your confidence before you've even begun. They cannot whisper negative outcomes into manifest reality. If you announce your intentions, your competitive shadow will find 1,000 small ways to trip you. They will subtly question your ideas, highlight potential pitfalls, or even accidentally suggest alternative paths that lead nowhere. This isn't malice in the theatrical sense. It's a quiet, insidious erosion of your resolve, a constant drip of doubt designed to keep you from pulling too far ahead. They don't want you to fail spectacularly. They want you to stay comfortably within their reach, always. But if you move in silence, if your achievements manifest as sudden, undeniable realities, their game changes. They cannot sabotage what they do not see. They cannot plant seeds of doubt in a garden that has already bloomed. Your competitor, caught off guard, is left with only the stark, finished product of your success. This forces them to react to a fact, not a possibility. Their discomfort becomes internal, a silent resentment that burns without an outlet. They are left to stew in their own perceived stagnation, watching your ascent with gritted teeth, unable to touch it. Think of it in the context of career advancement. If you hint that you are interviewing for a better role, a competitive friend might subtly spread rumors about your discontent or question your loyalty, or even helpfully point out your flaws to your current superiors. But if you simply secure the new position, sign the contract, and then announce your departures as a done deal, what can they do? Nothing. They are spectators to your victory, not participants in your struggle. This is why the wise keep their counsel. As Sun Tzu wrote, all warfare is based on deception. What he understood is that your plans, your weaknesses, your true intentions are weapons if revealed. Keep them hidden, and you deny your silent enemies any ammunition. They are left to fight a ghost. Chapter 7. The Crisis Alley. Crisis. That moment when weaknesses are exposed. Some allies merely orbit, waiting for your fall. They appear only when you bleed, making themselves indispensable in your peril. Now consider the seventh and most insidious type of drain, the crisis alley. Picture Alexander the Great in Hellenistic Greece, methodically consolidating an empire forged in fire. He needed unwavering loyalty, not opportunistic comfort. He understood that true allies strengthen your position regardless of circumstance, while others merely circle like vultures, waiting for your moment of weakness to swoop in, and make themselves feel indispensable. The crisis alley is never there when you are thriving, when you are building, when you are expanding your territory. They are conspicuously absent from your victory. But the moment a storm hits, a setback, a failure, a personal crisis, they appear. They offer advice, a shoulder, an ear. They act as your devoted confidant, your staunch defender. They feed on your vulnerability, on your need for their presence. They make you believe you cannot navigate these rough waters without their support. This isn't genuine care. It is a calculated performance. Their power, their perceived value, is directly tied to your suffering. Watch what happens when you climb back out of the hole. When your life stabilizes, when you find success again, they vanish. They retreat into the shadows, offering no congratulations, no continued support for your strength. They only re-emerge when the next crisis looms, ready to replay their role as your indispensable savior. This behavior keeps you in a subtle state of dependence, subtly programming you to associate struggle with their arrival and independence with their absence. You become conditioned to seek their specific brand of comfort when things go wrong, rather than developing your own resilience. Here's how you identify and disarm this dynamic. Just as Alexander the Great would identify those who truly served his empire versus those who only served themselves. First, track their presence. Were they there when you sealed that big deal? When you launched that project? When you achieved a personal best? Or did they only materialize when your world started to crumble? Their consistent absence from your triumphs is the first tell. Next, observe their reaction when you declare your independence from a problem you faced. If you announce you've handled a crisis alone or found a solution without their direct intervention, do they celebrate your strength, or do they subtly diminish your accomplishment, perhaps by reminding you of how bad things were? This often manifests as a backhanded compliment or an immediate redirection of the conversation away from your success. This is why the Roman philosopher Seneca wrote, "A man is rich in proportion to the number of things he can afford to let alone." What he understood is that true wealth, true power, comes from self-sufficiency, not from an abundance of allies whose only role is to rescue you. If you announce your struggle, people will flock to your side, some genuinely, but others to feel important, to feel needed. But if you quietly build your own solutions, if you cultivate your own inner strength, there is no crisis for them to swoop into, no drama for them to participate in. Alexander the Great did not rely on temporary alliances. He built an enduring structure of power. He eliminated dependencies, he didn't cultivate them, he fostered strength, not the need for rescue. Recognize that their support is not for your well-being, but for their own ego. It's a transaction where your weakness is the currency. The strategy is to starve them of that currency. Stop broadcasting your struggles. Cultivate a small, true circle who celebrate your wins as much as they support your genuine needs. When a crisis hits, turn inward first, or to those proven allies who remain constant. You deny the crisis alley their stage, and they will eventually fade away, seeking another drama to insert themselves into. But there's another subtle trap that drains your energy and warps your perception of others. What is it? Chapter 8. Anchors to the past. Old habits, deadly chains. They whisper of your former self, shackling your ambition. Recognize these saboteurs, these purveyors of your past, or perish. The most insidious saboteurs aren't those who openly wish you ill. They are the architects of your past, constantly reminding you of who you used to be. Picture Nikola Tesla in Gilded Age America, pushing his radical vision for alternating current, battling not just Thomas Edison's formidable corporate machine, but also the entrenched beliefs and the fear of the unknown that people clung to. His struggle was against the anchors of the past, against those who wanted to keep him tethered to what was already accepted, to what he should be doing. Your so-called friends do the same. They are the subtle chains to your past self, ensuring you never truly evolve beyond their convenient image of you. This is the problem of anchors to the past. Every time they bring up an old mistake, a past weakness, a relationship failure, they aren't merely reminiscing. They are attempting to define you, to limit your evolution, to prevent your growth into something they cannot control or understand. This isn't nostalgia, it's a strategic maneuver to keep you small, predictable, and forever stuck in their shadow. Watch what happens when you announce a new venture, a new discipline, or a new boundary you're setting for yourself. One of these friends will inevitably interject with, "Remember when you were so passionate about X and it didn't work out?" Or, "That's just like you, always chasing the next big thing, but you never stick with it." They might recall an embarrassing moment from years ago, framed as a funny story, but designed to subtly undermine your present confidence and reinforce an outdated identity. Here's how you eliminate this invisible chain. Recognize these anchors for what they are, an attack on your future. Acknowledge the past, briefly, without emotion, but refuse to be defined by it. Nikola Tesla didn't let Edison's smear campaigns or the public's initial skepticism about his radical ideas drag him back to obscurity. He pressed forward, proving his vision. You must do the same, refusing to engage with their attempts to relitigate your history. If you announce a new direction and they bring up an old failure, do not argue, do not defend, do not explain. That gives their anchor weight, validating their premise that your past dictates your future. Instead, calmly state, "That was a different time, a different me," and then pivot directly back to your present actions and intentions. The objective is to provoke a defensive reaction, thereby confirming their perception of your unchanging nature. But if you quietly proceed with your transformation, demonstrating through action that you are no longer the person they remember, there is nothing for them to anchor to. They are trying to keep you comfortable and predictable for their benefit, not yours. Your evolution threatens their fixed worldview, forcing them to confront their own stagnation. Marcus Aurelius understood the power of the present moment and the futility of dwelling on what has been or what might be. He wrote, "Do not disturb yourself by picturing your whole life, nor by dwelling on all the various troubles which may await you, but ask yourself at each occurrence, what is there in this that is insupportable and beyond endurance?" What he understood is that your identity is forged in the now, not chained to the ghosts of yesterday. Your future self is a work in progress, not a repetition of your past failures, and you owe no one an explanation for shedding old skins. This subtle sabotage, however, is often intertwined with another, more active form of undermining, one that seeks to actively diminish your present achievements. What is it? Chapter 9, The Severing. Elimination, a strategic necessity. Your ambition demands ruthless clarity, a surgical precision to excise those who now threaten your ascent. Picture Genghis Khan in the desolate expanse of the Mongol Empire, faced with warring tribes. His vision was not peace through negotiation, but unity through elimination. He didn't waste precious energy trying to convince every minor chieftain. He identified the loyal, absorbed the neutral, and decisively severed the treacherous. This cold, surgical act defines the severing, a ruthless clarity you must now apply to your own circle. Genghis Khan understood that a unified future demanded a clean break from a divided past. The individuals you've identified, those who secretly hope for your failure, are not merely passive spectators. They are active saboteurs, draining your ambition, muddying your focus, and celebrating your stumbles. Their presence is a slow leak, an invisible chain that binds you to mediocrity, ensuring your progress remains stunted and your potential unfulfilled. You cannot build an empire on a foundation of shifting sand. You have witnessed their subtle slights, their backhanded compliments, their quiet relief when your plans falter. You have felt the strange energy drain, the sudden self-doubt that creeps in after an interaction with them. These are not coincidences. They are the consistent, predictable patterns of covert hostility designed to keep you small. Here's how you execute the severing with surgical precision. It does not require confrontation, explanation, or a dramatic announcement. Those who seek to undermine you thrive on drama, on your emotional reaction. Deny them that satisfaction entirely. Instead, you initiate a quiet, gradual withdrawal. Their calls go unanswered, their invitations politely declined. Your availability becomes scarce. Their access to your victories and your vulnerabilities diminishes to nothing. The interaction frequency drops, then the depth, until they are simply a ghost in your periphery, dissolved without a trace. If you announce your intentions, they will mobilize, they will guilt-trip, manipulate, and attempt to reel you back into their sphere of influence, leveraging shared history as a weapon. But if you quietly detach, there's nothing to argue, nothing to fight against, only a growing silence they cannot fill. Mike Tyson once stated, "Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." He spoke of the ring, but the truth applies to your ambition. You might have a vision for your life, but the secret saboteurs in your circle are those silent punches designed to knock you off balance before you even throw a swing. Their influence is a constant, unseen threat to your forward momentum. Once these anchors are cut, watch what happens. The air around you lightens, your thoughts become clearer, the self-doubt begins to recede, replaced by a surge of unburdened energy. This newfound space is not emptiness. It is fertile ground for genuine growth, for true allies to emerge. This is the ultimate act of self-preservation, a clearing of the path. You are not being cruel, you are being strategic. Your ambition, your vision, your future, these are too vital to be compromised by the hidden resentments of others. You are simply eliminating what does not serve your ascent. Genghis Khan understood that loyalty was not a given, but a constantly tested commodity. He demanded absolute commitment to the vision, and those who could not provide it were removed without hesitation. Your vision for your life demands no less. Your success is a direct threat to those who envy you, a stark mirror reflecting their own inaction. They cannot rise to your level, so they will attempt to drag you down to theirs. This is their nature, immutable and relentless. Identify them, isolate them, erase them. Your ascent depends on it.